men or women? Who do you think dominates graphic design? You might say women and you'd be right. Well, actually, it's not a huge difference. There are just slightly more women, but when it comes to leadership and pay, it's a whole different story. At the first glance, yeah, it's almost balanced. There are just slightly more women. You can see the statistics somewhere here. In fact, if you step into a design school classroom or scroll through Instagram, chances are you'll see more female designers than male ones. But here's where it gets weird. Despite women being the majority in design, when you look at the leadership positions, the numbers flip. Only 29% of creative directors are women. And that's just the official stats. If we're talking about agency owners and studio founders, the gap is even bigger. But let's just pause on that for a second. How is it that women dominate the field, yet men still hold most of the top positions? Coincidence? I don't think so. And it doesn't stop there. The pay gap is real too. On average, female graphic designers earn 94 cents for every dollar a male designer makes. Over a year, that adds up to about $3,796 less for doing the same job. Now, you might think that this might not sound like a life-changing amount, but think about it over the span of a 10-year career. That's almost $40,000 lost. I don't know why I'm smiling right now. This is not my real emotions. That's a whole salary. That's a down payment on a house. That's like a lot of oat lattes. And before anyone says, well, maybe managers better designers, let me stop you right there. This has nothing to do with the skill. Obviously, the industry is full of insanely talented women and men as well. But for some reason, then women are not getting promoted at the same rate. They're not getting paid at the same level. They're not being recognized in the same way. And this isn't just a graphic design problem. This happens across all creative industries. Look at the film industry, the art world, advertising. The pattern is the same. And the question is why? What's actually causing this gap? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Let's break it down. And before I get into the reasons why this is happening, let's start with education. If you went to design school, a university or college, doesn't matter, you probably noticed that there are a lot more girls than guys there. For me, personally, it was one guy and 30 plus girls on our course. And when I did my master's, it was a little bit better. We had 3 or 4 guys and 10 plus girls. Slight improvement. And these numbers make it even more strange. Why men are the industry leaders? Like, what's that special about them that makes them win? And here we got to the reasons of it. And the first and the most fundamental one is, as you guessed it, patriarchy. Of course, just like everywhere. You know, these typical cultural biases that men are breadwinners and they are expected to earn more money because that's what society requires from them. And that's why by default, it's been assumed that they are supposed to be earning more than women. And it's easier for them to deal with big clients, with other company owners. It's easier for them to negotiate because they are being respected more than women, and all those negative consequences that we can see what patriarchy is doing in our society. So yeah, this is really obvious, but unfortunately fundamental reason. Men are just taken more seriously in the first place, whatever they do, no matter what industry they're at. Whereas women are better for junior positions, for executing something that men said. Well, I'm exaggerating a little bit right now, but the tendency is like that. The second reason is a little bit related to that first one, is the job conditions and a creative director role as such, especially if that's your own company. As you probably know, work-life balance is really far from graphic designers' lifestyle, especially if you're a company owner, if you're a freelancer, if you're self-employed. You tend to work long hours, you're overworking, and there's a high rate of burning out. And at some point, women decide that they want to start a family and they take maternity leave. I saw the statistics that quite a big percentage of them decide not to come back to the industry because it's just really difficult to manage this work-life imbalance for them, and at the same time raising a family. And if you ask me why men don't do the same, there is a paternity leave And yeah, it exists in a lot of countries, specifically in the UK, but apparently it's a very unpopular choice for men to take this opportunity because they tend to make more money in the first place. So it's just not rational for a family to choose the option that pays less if we count both people. Many companies offer higher maternity pay, making it financially easier for mothers to take leave. And of course, there is a cultural thing where paternity leave is seen as unmanly or career damaging. Some men feel pressured to return to work quickly or fear they'll be seen as less committed. Also, there is a lack of awareness. Many men aren't fully aware of their rights or assume they won't qualify. Some employers don't actively encourage it, so fathers don't even ask. Even if a woman don't plan to have kids, there are still assumptions from the employers that they may want to have kids in the future, and that's why they take this into account. The third reason is design bias, whose work gets more valued, and due to patriarchy, men's work is typically valued more. This also has to do because just naturally men are more into technical stuff, technical side of design, which is considered more difficult. Like they're more interested in something like 3D modeling, motion design, UX, UI, something that has to do with analytics, which is considered more difficult and therefore more valuable. But it shouldn't be as simple as the more technical it is, the more valuable it is. In a capitalist world, it should be the more money it brings, the more valuable it is. So marketing skills, which involve a lot of psychology, non-technical skills, are really valuable in this because this is what helps grow companies and bring money. That's just how I see it. So it's a little bit too superficial to judge purely on the level of technical skills, how valuable this designer is. I remember I encountered that as well as a designer. I remember once I got a DM on Instagram with a compliment from a guy who asked me, is this really your work? Do you do it yourself? Because it's so good, I kind of assumed it's done by a dude. Thanks for the compliment. But it sounds... And in my early stages of building Instagram presence, I remember I created an account which was faceless and I didn't want anybody to know that I'm a girl because I had that sexist mindset that if I'm showing that I'm a girl, I'm automatically gonna be less valued as a designer. Like, it's not as cool to be a girl. I don't know. You might say it's just my own insecurities. Like, it doesn't reflect the rest of the world. I know, and luckily I don't have that anymore. But I used to have this perception that everything feminine, like what we call feminine design, is perceived as unprofessional, as tacky, as too cheap. I don't even know how else to describe it. Like, not like a real design, But I don't know if that's just me. I kind of feel like only recently, in the last 1 year or maybe 2, probably 1, 2024, I've been feeling that a lot of feminine styles, feminine design are being more recognized and being more appreciated, and they are becoming more trendy. Like if we say, for example, script fonts, they don't look as something too girly and too corny, and a lot of guys started using them, which I think this is a really nice trend, but it's too early to say yet if that's massively changing the situation or not. That's just something I've noticed. And the fourth reason that I found is the confidence gap. I can give you an example from my experience. I've been running online courses where I teach people Photoshop, and I'm still doing it, but right now the enrollment is closed. But at certain times we're opening it every now and then. So far I ran 5 courses already, and I've noticed the difference in approach to design and to design education from girls and guys. And I can definitely say that in general I've noticed that guys are more confident in what they're doing, and they come to the course for specific skills. They know what exactly they want to learn there. At least they have an idea. They're more driven to do homework, and they don't need as much guidance, to be honest. I mean, the general guidance. They kind of know the direction they go into, and they may need some specific things what they want to learn. Whereas girls, they are more lost in their interests and they come to the course to find themselves. They are more like, I don't know what I want, what my style is. I want to explore. I want to get some inspiration. So I kind of feel that I would like to put myself out more, but I'm not sure if my work is good enough or not. Obviously, I'm speaking about the general trend. I've had guys who are not really confident about their work as well. But that's just the common trend I've noticed, that guys are a bit more specific about what they want, at least from my experience. Again, I've taught just over 200 students, so maybe that's not that much to judge the whole graphic design industry, of course. And maybe that's why they don't go to uni as much as girls, because they just think I can learn it myself. They're more confident in that they know what they want to learn, where they can learn it, and they don't need that much of a guidance. I don't know. That's what I've noticed. So yeah, this is where we're at. Women make up the majority of graphic designers, but when it comes to leadership, pay and recognition, men are still ahead. And it's not some big mystery. I'm pretty sure you kind of already knew that. Same story, different industry. But the real question isn't why it's happening. We already know that. It's what's actually going to change this. And is the industry moving in the right direction? That's what we're getting into next. Please let me know what you think about it. This video is not to accuse anyone or blame someone. These are just my observation, and let's discuss this. If you've noticed this in your career, probably if you work for a company, this is more noticeable, and maybe you don't encounter this if you work alone, separately as a freelancer. I just think it's an important thing to talk about, and the reason why I even decided to make this video is the International Women's Day, the 8th of March, and I thought this is the right time to talk about women's rights, and let's take a look at design industry in that sense. So yeah, let me guys know what you think. I'll be really curious to know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, and see you guys next time. Bye!